In the Mail, being a Sunday, you've got a church story here. Tell us more.
Yes, I have. So, as we all know, same-sex marriage became a legal reality last month. Some of the first ceremonies were held in the Church of England. That's actually not allowed for priests. When the law changed, the Church of England issued a statement saying it would not be appropriate for priests to enter into same-sex marriages. They're allowed to enter into civil partnerships, but they have to be declared as celibate, so you can't have a sexually active relationship. So people were thinking there would be some clergy that would sort of rise up and defy this, and the first one has. His name's Canon Jeremy Pemberton, and he married his long-term partner Lawrence Cunningham in a ceremony. So now
so
the church
what happens to the canon? Is he excommunicated?
Well, this is the big question. So the statement issued by the House of Bishops said, you know, this is not appropriate for priests, and this is the first test case now where we'll be waiting to see how strongly the church comes in, whether or not they turn a blind eye, whether they crack down. But this will really set a precedent for whether lots of other clergy.
The canon will be fired.
Well, they can act either soft or hard, I think, and it's just going to be interesting to see how they respond.
Now, here's something which I think is brilliant if it works, but I doubt it will work, and this is keeping chain stores from hogging small-town high streets.
I agree with you. It's a good idea. I'm not convinced it will work. Every high street you go down, there's going to be a Costa, there's going to be a Starbucks. It's the same shops.
Same shops, same
everywhere.
chains, yeah.
And it is depressing. There are a couple of people who have set up, it started in Liverpool, they're hoping to bring it to Birmingham, then take it around the country. So it's a voucher scheme that you get discounts in local independent stores. I think it's a great idea, but I kind of think, don't we have to accept that the high street is kind of dead? It's an old-fashioned concept, because it's so much, again, not for everybody, but it's so much easier and cheaper to order stuff online.
And I'm choice too, as well.
I'm guilty. I've been in bookshops, held a book and thought, well, let me just check online. Oh, hang on, it's half price online. I'll order it and get it tomorrow.
And your discount voucher wouldn't be enough to make a difference.
No, it wouldn't. And it's a real contradiction. I want to support small independent shops, certainly over the bigger kind of chains, but I also want value for money, and I want ease, I want speed, and you can do it all online.
Right. Do you know the one thing I get, and I do this in Belfast, and I do it where I live in England, and you walk down the street and the chemist knows you, the people that run the bakery know you, the people that run the bakery particularly know me, I have to say. But you know what I mean? You go in, your paint store, they know you, they talk.
It's an amazing experience,
I spent more of my life chatting and talking, but it is a lovely social experience, and I suppose there's a price to pay for that as well.
You've got the self-checkout in Sainsbury's, you're not even getting a human anymore, are you? So
very true. Let's go to the Telegraph. Cereal bars are fattening, so the lies that we're told, again, they're low in fat, but they're loaded with sugar, these things.
They are. It's really interesting. A lot of these bars are being presented as healthy options, especially for missing breakfast.
Yeah.
And they've got, you know, titles like Eat Natural and just names that kind of, they make you feel like you're making a better choice. And the Telegraph's done some research and found out that actually often they'll have double the sugar in these bars than they would in a chocolate bar. So they were comparing one of the Eat Natural bars.
Sugar's now seen to be a bigger evil than fat.
It is, and after the crackdown, you know, the kind of government's recommendations about being very careful about sugars, they're actually saying there's double in this Eat Natural bar than there would be in a Kit Kat. But you'd definitely go for the natural bar over the Kit Kat, I think, if you were trying to make a healthy choice. So it's quite misleading.
Yeah. I suppose if you can't make it yourself, or you can't grow it yourself, or this is another thing about produce locally. If you can source it locally, if it's grown locally, it's good for the environment, it's good for the economy, and if you can do that instead of buying all this processed stuff, which of course we all do, we all have to, we're all slaves of it, and we're all being poisoned by it.
But it's the fact that there's nowhere in nature is fat and sugar combined in a food.
It's a really good point.
That's the problem.
Yeah, it's a very unnatural combination.
What are, tell me, Vicky, Bluetooth shoes. What are Bluetooth shoes?
These are amazing. I'm a technology geek, and I love lots of gadgets. Yes. So this is a brilliant new idea that enables you to find your way around, you know, with the GPS. It's used with a smartphone, but instead of staring at your phone, your shoes actually work with the device. There's a Bluetooth connection with your shoes, and they vibrate, telling you where to go. So they'll
like turn right or turn left.
Exactly. So
but say
one
you
shoe
disagree, and you says, please turn right.
Don't argue with your feet.
So what happens is your right foot starts shaking uncontrollably, and you're ignoring it.
I want to see you test these. I think we need to appeal to the company. They're really, really great. They're also work as pedometers. You can tell how many calories you've burned, and they're supposed to be very good for safety, because instead of walking around looking at your phone like I do, nearly getting run over all the time, you actually
I'd love to buy those for my wife just out of mischief, because she argues. My wife is a woman that talks to the sat-nav, so she goes, "Oh, don't be ridiculous."
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
So she doesn't use sat-nav, I do, and of course that she thinks the sat-nav's always wrong, and she's right.
She could be shouting at her own feet.
What's wrong with getting lost? I miss getting lost. We don't get lost anymore. Dad, where are we? I don't know. We don't have that anymore.
My father we used to drive around Ireland in our summer holidays, and my father used to stop the car all the time, and he knew everybody in every town, in every part of Ireland, everybody. And we used to wonder why this was. He just called everybody Joe or Paddy. Paddy, Joe, where are... I'm like, how does he know this man in Limerick? But that's what he did.
Amazing.
That was sat-nav of old.
That was old school GPS,
we're talking about pedigree chumps after this, okay? Pedigree chumps. Keep it here. Hello? Okay. We're going to talk about nuptials now, or the idea of falling in love with your nuptials, getting engaged, and for a lot of people, the engagement is even more romantic than the wedding. And Ian, what have you got to say about engagement
Not according to
rings?
this survey. There's a survey. 1 woman in 5 buys her own engagement ring, and 54% of unmarried women would share the cost of a ring. No, that's not how it's done. That's not how it's done. The gentleman buys the ring. Because if the women are buying the ring or themselves, you miss out on the down on one knee, and that's what it's all about. You've got to
as
do
long as you keep the receipt, as long as you
Yes,
know the intention,
just in case it goes wrong.
Because they'll say no, not because it goes wrong. No, because most women say that's very nice, Ian, that's lovely, but I prefer this one. I'm going.
Oh, my wife
Would you
went for
let her
the
choose it though?
Yeah,
because you could let her choose it, but you could buy it
together.
No, it's wrong.
Well, the surprise, I agree with Ian, the surprise element has gone there.
And of course, and I wonder how many people as well ask for permission from the parents.
I did.
I did.
Yeah.
Did you?
I did.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you should do.
Yeah,
I love these old
I think
traditions.
some women would find that quite patronising.
No.
Almost like you're
I mean,
swapping
bear in
property.
mind, Ruth and I only got married 4 years ago, and her mother was so grateful that I asked her for permission. She was saying, please, please.
So Ruth didn't feel in any way like it was not her right to actually say that I'll marry you, rather than having to ask a parent.
Oh, you modern women.
I would feel really uncomfortable if somebody asked my parents for permission.
My wife didn't feel disempowered.
gosh,
I think
yeah.
she thought it was romantic.
I think it's
Really?
romantic.
I think it just reminds me of the property rights that, marriage ceremony was based on. Who gives this woman away? I mean, it's like I don't need to be given away by my dad, much as I love him. I'm my own person.
What does your husband think about it?
I don't have a husband.
There may be a reason. Anyway, okay. And I think that contribution where women pay towards their own engagement, that's probably to... no, you say that, but that is to ensure they get the right ring. So it's like you put down, the guy puts down a certain amount of money, and they say, yeah, but if I throw another 500 quid into that, we'll get the good one. That's why they do it.
Because you're going to be wearing it every day for the rest of your life.
That's it.
You want to get the right one.
Right, pedigree chump.
This is actually also related to engagements, funnily enough, and I love this story. So William Cash, who's a writer and son of an MP, proposed to his fiancée, Lady Laura Cathcourt, and the way he proposed was, as well as giving her a ring, he gave her an $800 pug dog.
The ring was in
Very
the dog.
cute picture here. Hopefully not. But disaster struck, and several weeks later, because they got married quite quick, and she was on her hen do, and unfortunately he was left in charge of this beloved pug dog, and it escaped. Now, the dog was nowhere to be found. She was on her way back from the hen do, so he panicked, and they're comparing it to the Ben Stiller movie, Meet the Parents.
Yes.
He decided he would try and replace the dog before she got home, hand it over, and see if she would realise. So he went off, bought this dog for £1,000. She walked in the door, he handed over the dog, and she knew right away. She said it was too skinny, and it had a white mark on its tummy, and he was basically in the doghouse.
And what about the poor wee original dog? Has it ever been found?
No, it never been found, no.
Maybe it'll turn up one day.
But I love that he really thought he could get away with just, swapping another dog. It's great.
Oh dear. Well, thanks for depressing us. Just in case we were starting to get uplifted on this Sunday morning, but that's put an end to that one. If anybody sees that wee pug dog out there, hopefully it's been looked after. And
it's worth
I say that
£800.
because we have a rescue dog, and I feel for
Oh no, sympathy for those poor animals.
Nazanin to the rescue with the weather.